Hello once again, my name is Abbott. And today we are going to talk about a topic, and I know you idiots all over Gonamate will go apes about it. But the topic is called Punishment Day. And why it is child abuse. Here is a CNN interview of David Plezer, a man who was abused as a child by his bitch of a mom.
Our next guest on this extraordinary evening with extraordinary people is Dave Plezer, who turned his monumentally abusive childhood into a way of inspiring people to survive and thrive in the face of adversity. Using adversity as a plus, he has authored 5 best-selling books. You had a horrific childhood.
It was challenging at best.
Tell us about it.
I was raised in the Bay Area, and unfortunately my mother was an alcoholic, and for whatever the reason decided to vent her rage on me from the age of 4. Well, there was 3 of us at the time. But
all of them got hit?
No, just myself. We used to call it target child selection, in which the perpetrator selects one child at random to vent their rage or whatever. And it got to the point when I was age 4, I knew I was in trouble for things I didn't even do. To the point at age 5 or 6, I was isolated to live in a basement, perform chores. My brothers weren't allowed to even look at me, to the point where I was either stabbed or starved for 14 days or burned on a gas stove or just swallow ammonia for these fictional crimes that I never committed.
Where was your father?
My father was a fireman in San Francisco, but I think back at that time, Larry, I mean, the mentality was men brought home the bacon and let the women, not the wives, lovers, or friends, take care of business. And
but he didn't know what his wife was doing to her
by the time he understood what was going on, it was way out of control, and he didn't want to deal with her wrath as well. He was a passive observer, and it was a tragedy within a tragedy.
Was she always drunk when doing this?
I'd say in the latter years, yes. But she was very premeditated in what she would do, how she would treat me when my brothers weren't around, the neighbors weren't around, how much she can hide from the teachers when I ran to school, of course, to go to class.
Did you ever think of complaining to a teacher?
Oh, back then, we never said no to our parents. We never thinked on our parents, per se. I mean, a lot of things were kept in the closet. I just had to learn at a very young age, if my mom doesn't feed me, I steal water. If my mom goes to strike me, I just try to tighten up parts of my body.
Now, I read here that you actually your mom wanted you to lie down on top of a lit cook stove so she could watch you burn?
Yes, and that was that one incident in which minutes before that my mom had burned my arm on a gas stove, and then of course, as you said, to have me lay down the gas stove. That was the one turning point in my life, because I had her hit me. I was about 7. So I had her hit me rather than burn me, so it was the lesser of 2 evils. And thank goodness my brother Ronald came home early from this situation. My mother tosses me down to the bottom of the basement. I purge, I cry, I let it out, and then I felt the blisters from the palm of my hand to my bicep. And that's when I realized, Larry, if I can feel these blisters, I'm alive, which means I'm not dead, which means I can manipulate, I can win. And that was the turning point in my life. I raised my hand to myself and to God, and I said, from this moment on, I will never quit, and I'll give everything my best shot.
How long did you live with her?
Until I was rescued at age 12. And it was
arrested?
Pardon me, rescued.
Rescued
at age 12
by?
by 4 teachers, a nurse and a principal, who put their careers on the line at the time, because we didn't have penal codes that we have now to protect children or to protect those trying to protect children. So it was a very dramatic...
He took you away from the house?
Immediately.
And what did your father say?
My father was separated from my mom at the time.
That the brothers remained?
Yes, which was unfortunate, because I remember going to my social worker and saying, hey, if you're going to rescue me, you have to take care of my brothers. But because of the, I think at age 12 I weighed 68 pounds, 68, 70 pounds. My case was rather gratuitous, and the social workers were saying, hey, we'll take care of you, let's see what happens next, but let's take care of you now, which wasn't fair to my brothers who had to, of course...
How did they grow up?
There was, of course, some abuse there and psychological abuse. I mean, we call it feeding. Once one child's removed, they have a tendency to feed.
Do you love your mother?
Well, you know who I love, Larry? I love my mommy, who was the most beautiful creature on this planet. The best cook in the world, would do anything for her husband and her children. But the more she drank, and with the hatred from her abusive past, the more she became less of the mommy figure and more she became what I called the mother.
She passed away?
Both of them are deceased. But I had a chance to interview her before she passed away.
You interviewed her?
Yes, because I used to be in counseling, and I used to work in juvenile hall and law enforcement.
How did she explain herself?
She didn't.
What did she say?
She basically said when she had stabbed me, that was an accident. And her mentality was, if I can forgive her for the most incredible atrocity, then I had to forgive her for all the smaller things. Which tells me, Larry, that the alcohol did not subdue her memory, and she knew exactly what she was doing at that time, which makes her, to me, more deadly.
Therefore, the puzzlement of all is why?
Why?
Why you?
Why,
Not the others? Why you? And why would a mother harm a child?
She could have picked on any of my siblings, or brothers rather. She just happened to pick on me.
But why?
There's no answer to that. I've talked to other law enforcement psychiatrists and so forth, and they call it target child selection. These perpetrators pick a child at random, but they do it at an age that which they won't tell. I probably was abused between the ages of 2.5 and 3.
How did you get from that to this?
I always knew as a child, if I can survive what I did without a lot of help, without, let's say, a college degree, without a Phil Jackson giving me play-by-play, if I can do that, then I can, it took me 6 months to join the Air Force. I didn't speak very well, I was uncoordinated, but I made a decision, if I can survive my first 12 years, I can do this. I had a strong work ethic. In junior high, I worked 40 hours a week because I knew I can work when I was a child.
Who did you live with? Who was raising you?
Oh, I had several foster parents. And as you know, the social workers, police officers, and foster parents never get a fair shake. And here I am, you know, have the opportunity, the privilege of seeing and being on your show and talking to you. And you're looking at, you know, 20 years or maybe 8 years of solid work from these people who just invested so much time and energy into me so my son can go to college. It's the old American dream. You come from less than humble beginnings. You adopt the mentality, if you can survive cancer, then you can survive the flu. I always knew in my heart, if I can survive this as a kid, I can do anything.
So you write books, you do motivational speaking on this topic, right?
On resilience. A lot of people with a narrow mind say, oh, he's about abuse. I'm always about resilience, responsibility with a sense of honor.
Can you teach it?
Can I teach it? I teach it to my son. That's the most important thing in my life, to give him strong values and a sense of his accord of what I expect of him, and to be nice to his fellow man and to be responsible for his actions.
Did you keep in touch with your brothers while you were in the foster homes?
I tried, but my mom, of course, had a lockdown.
How about your dad?
My dad, a little bit, and my dad, of course, was homeless before he passed away, which was a tragedy, and he died in my arms. Yeah, he was asked to retire from the fire department in San Francisco.
Did you get a pension?
I don't know if he did. He probably did. My mom probably got that. But I got to see my dad before he passed away, which was really tragic. He couldn't talk.
So what do you do now?
What I do now, let me see, make sure my son stays in college.
And you do speaking?
Lots of speaking. I work a lot with the armed forces now with the war going on. I'm kind of a Robin Williams meets Dr. Phil. Do a lot of comedy. The books, work a lot in social services, law enforcement. Just down the street, Coachella Valley, Rancho Mirage. I'm the self-imposed chancellor of Homeland Security. You gotta like that. And a friend of mine says, hey, what about the Al-Qaeda? And I said, have we been attacked? Then shut up, I'm doing my job.
You grew up with Al-Qaeda.
I did. Yeah, she was my bin Laden, Larry.
Thank you, Dave.
God bless you, sir. Thank you.
God bless you. Dave Plezer. What a story. More to come. Don't go away.